Hey guys! Thank you so much for tuning in to another Seed Bead Saturday. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to do the twisted herringbone rope technique. And it is going to be made with the summer 2024 seed bead mix that was created by myself and Carol Carmen Jewelry for you guys. So she created a very beautiful design. And last week during our intro video, we presented a bunch of projects. And this was one of them. And it was by far the one that everybody was asking to see like the most. So that's the one I'm doing today. And so let me show you really quick what it looks like here on the mat. And then we'll dive into the how-to. So there is a PDF you can download that will supplement this video. And then the project itself, I'm going to work that right here with you guys. I have a version that is in a spot right here, ready to add thread. And so I'm going to show that. I'm also going to start from the beginning, of course, and then show you how to like do the ladder stitch, get the colors chosen. And like in the process of doing this, I'm going to end up showing you the steps for herringbone, regular round herringbone rope, and then we'll show what's different between that and twisted. And it's really just like one small little tweak, a little difference when you're doing the stitch that makes the entire effect. So it's actually super easy. I think it's super easy and confidence building after you get past like row 10, like we were talking about last week. You really got it. Just keep stitching until you can really see it come to shape. And so that's what my plan for today is. And then, of course, I'll put links in the description to all of the things. So a link to the PDF, a link to the mix. So the mix sold out twice. I made 2 more batches. I've ordered more beads. By the time I'm pre-recording this video, so by the time I get to Saturday, I'm hoping that maybe I have more in the shop. So I will try. This one was really popular, and I have so much gratitude for the love you guys have shown for our it's only our second mix this year, so we were really excited by like how well it's doing, and we're really excited to show you the next one. Yeah, you definitely want to stay tuned for that. We got a lot of stuff coming up. And just a quick recap in case anyone wasn't here for our last week video. We're doing a Seed Bead Saturday every Saturday now, and so I have put a calendar on my website. I will also put a link in the description to that calendar where you can see everything we have coming up. All right, let's get started. All right, so what I have here on the mat is the PDF, and I have already pre-threaded a needle. This is a size 11 beading needle that I'm using. You can probably use a 10, or 12, or just anything's fine. And the beading thread I'm using is an 8-pound or 0.008. So kind of a strong beading thread is what you kind of want to go for. And I summed up here everything that I'm using. And then what I've done here is I've identified a little bit about the mix. So the mix actually has more than these colors. It has 2 additional colors in addition to what you see here. But Carol was telling us in the video last week the reason that she went with just these colors was to get a rope that wasn't super wide because it would collapse on itself. And so just to show you what it looks like here, we're talking about a 6-column design here. Sorry, 6 beads. 3 columns. I had to get my herringbone anatomy right there. So herringbone stitches worked in columns, and a column consists of 2 beads. And so that's what you're seeing here. It's a rope that has 6 beads, and or you could call it 3 columns. Okay, and so how that is constructed, I'm going to go ahead and just move some of these things just to the side a little bit and get my beads ready. Here's the summer mix, and again, I was saying in the intro that I am trying to get these, get another batch in stock. I know that this one was very loved, and we're super, super grateful for that. So just dumping these out here, just have them on the side. Okay, so what I did is I began to pick them up in the order that is listed here in the document. So you'll want to start with the barley ivory and then get some terra intensive green going. And we're just going to do a ladder row. And then add the pink, dark brown, pearly eggshell color, and then the ready brown kind of terra intensive color. And after we get to this spot, we'll bring it into a rope and we'll check back in with the PDF when we get to that spot. But this pretty much is the same way that you would start a lot of herringbone designs, in fact. So you will be learning herringbone by default just by learning this style of bracelet. So again, here's my first 4 beads. Got those ready. I'm going to slide this down, and you'll want to leave about I think I said a 10-inch tail in the handout. This is a flexible number here. All you really need to do with this tail is you're going to be weaving it in. And yeah, I said 10-inch in the handout. But as you can probably tell, I don't always totally measure things when I'm going. I just go. And so this is about 10 inches or so that I've got for a tail. And so come back up through the first 2 beads. Okay. And just kind of pinch everything together and pull tight. And what you'll get is this really pretty little popping square shape here. So that's step 1. And so let's continue our ladder stitch going through these beads. I'm going to go down, the next one, and I'm going to pick up the next colors. And so if you like the order that Carol used for her design, I'm copying that right here. So you'll just pick them up in the same order as me, and you'll get her same color flow. So you're going to get the pink beads now. And what you'll see happen is, you see how my last one there is going kind of a little to the side? That's okay. Just tighten it up. I didn't do a double ladder, meaning going through all the beads twice, because we're going to end up doing that by default when we build the herringbone. So I'm just doing my best to keep it tight. Okay, so I'm going to tighten that up. And then we need dark brown. Okay. All right. From there, eggshell, I believe, is the next color. But feel free to change this, guys. If you want to change this to something else, absolutely feel free to do that, because there's a lot of different ways you can make this color flow. And I'm going to show you something I'm working on here in a minute when I get this going. It uses the colors we didn't use in the mix, the 2 extras. Okay, and so that was eggshell. Last but not least, here's that red, brown, terra intensive matte. It shows up as, I think it's called light brown if you're purchasing it like from the shops where I get it, but to me it really looks like a red brown. Okay, so there you go. That is the laddered row, and that's all you need to do. So if you were building a regular flat herringbone design, you would start your herringbone now. So what you would do is you would pick up the colors. For example, you'd pick up the one you're exiting and the one you're going into. So then red, and then you would go down through the beads here. And that's a herringbone stitch right there. And you would work that flat to the end. So, you know, I don't currently have content on my website for flat herringbone. If anyone wants to see that, there's a lot of different cool ways to do it. I've done a bunch of classes for Michaels that show flat herringbone. So if you want links to that, I can also link you to that. But I think it's going to make an appearance with the July mix that Carol and I are doing, because I have some ideas for the color flow of that I need to see. So I feel like it's going to happen. But anyway, so when you get to this spot right here, here's where we're going to turn it into a round shape or a rope. And it's easy. It's super easy. All you need to do is, with your thread exiting from the last beads you added, just come along and go through. We're making a U shape, right? We're exiting out of here, turning and coming up through this one right there. So it's making a U shape, and when it connects, it's going to bring this bead right over next to that bead. So pull tight and pop. Okay, so you'll have like kind of an open join right there. To close that, come back down through that last one. So you're making a circle, right? We're just making a little circle that was exiting from the light red-brown color. We went into the barley ivory, and now we're making a rainbow over into these beads over here. Super, super easy. And there's no issue with, like, the tension tends to work out really great for me. I just pull, you know, kind of like medium tension, and it works out. It's not super tricky, and it'll happen nice and easy for you. And what I like to do is I like to make a trip back up through the next bead. So this is the barley ivory color. And then that gives me one opportunity here pull and tighten. What we got to do from here is we need to create 2 more rows of herringbone stitch that are regular, normal herringbone. So they're the type of herringbone stitch that would just not have a twist to it. And that's because what you need is you need a stack of 4 in order to start the herringbone twist, because the very first twist goes down 3 beads. So you need a base and then the 3. So let's do that together. Let's create. And it also, I wanted to make sure I mention one thing. It doesn't matter if you work from left to right or right to left. It's whatever your hand is comfortable with. And I'm going to go from into the green because that's how I ended up doing my diagrams. But I think it actually does not matter at all. So go whichever direction you're comfortable. All right. So I've picked up 2 beads. I picked up a barley, which is the one I'm exiting. And then I picked up Terra Intensive Green, which is the one that I'm headed into. So those beads are here, right here on the needle, or on the thread now. And then I went down through the adjacent Terra Intensive Green, and it looks just like that. Okay. Now this is what's called, a mid-row step up. You're just coming up through the next bead in the round. So for us, that's this pink bead right here. So we're just going to come right up through that bead. And you guessed it, we're going to pick up a pink bead. And then we're going to pick up one of the dark brown Terra Intensive matte colors. And again, I'm going to come down through the next bead there. Okay. And then just go ahead and turn it in your hand. And you see we've got just another column to go, which is a pair of beads here. So come up through the eggshell, just like that. And pull tight. And then pick up an eggshell and a Terra Intensive light brown or red brown. And then you just want to go through this next bead right there. Just like that. All right. And so herringbone stitch will have the beads kind of sitting side by side like that. They should pop right into place for you. If they don't, you could always help them. So that completes one row. What we have left to do next is a step up. And so your row may not stay round on you. Mine is collapsing and doing all kinds of crazy stuff right now. And don't sweat it. It's going to do that to you. It's going to be fine because it'll round out as we get going. When you're ready to finish a row and start the next row, you're going to need to do what's called a full step up. And so we're doing normal herringbone for the first 2 rows. So you get to learn that kind of by default. When you do that step up, you just come up through these 2. And so it's going to look like this. So that's a default step up, a normal one. Let's make one more row together that is a normal herringbone row. Okay. And again, I'm just picking up the color that I came out of, right? And then I picked up the color I'm going into, and I went down through the adjacent bead in the column, and now I'm just going to come up through the next pink bead right here. I'm just going to continue to go around. And if your tail's getting in your way, you can always, once you've got 4 or 5 rows on there, you can weave it in. The way we're going to finish this, we won't need it to do anything like a clasp or anything, so you can weave it in anytime. I might do that in a little bit here. So here's my next column. Pink bead, chocolate bead. Let's call it chocolate now. Starting to get hungry. And so there's that. So I'm going to come out of the pink brown, down into the brown bead, regular step up right here. Just going to go up through this one and pull that. And then I need to grab a eggshell bead and a red-brown bead. And I'm going to go down through this one. And that completes our 4th row. So notice that we got to count the first 2, the stacks, the ladder stacks, those became rows 1 and 2, which is kind of cool. And then notice right here that we've just got the 4th stack on there. Okay, so this is where, if you were doing regular herringbone, you would take a step and go right up through here, okay? And you would just keep carrying on as we've been. But here's where we're going to change it up. We're going to start doing twisted herringbone now. So the only difference between twisted herringbone and regular is an additional bead step down. And it's going to look a little bit like you did something wrong for the first, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, even 6 rows. It's going to look like it's not stitching up properly. But then after a while, it really starts looking like it. So we'll do it together and you'll see it. You'll see it grow. So again, you're going to step up one more extra bead down. So for us, it's going to be these 3 beads right here. You want to go through all 3. So you could call it a big step down. And this bead will jump down like that. Sorry, the thread will jump down from one bead to the next. So just, it doesn't look right. It's going to alarm you. You're going to be like, oh. Yeah, but let me show you on the finished one I have here. It's not confidence boosting is what I wanted to say. So here's the bottom. See the jumps? Well, find out where, yeah, see that one? That's probably where I did it there. It just doesn't, it doesn't look amazing, but then when you look at it as a whole, you're like, oh, hey, that looks great. It's just those first rows where I feel like because the thread is just a little bit more visible. Okay, so we did that step up. We went through 3. That's our first part. Okay, so now pick up the next 2 beads. Again, that's going to be a barley and then a green. And you just go down through the next bead. So far so good. Normal herringbone. And pull that. Help it if you need to get it to stay a little bit tighter. Okay. Then, when you come over here, do you remember before when we were doing regular herringbone, you would just go right up into that bead next? You guessed it. We're going to go down one more. So we're going to come up 2 beads. So when you're adding just, beads in the columns, it's coming up 2, and then the full step up to the next row is always going to be 3. That's the new thing for the entire bracelet. So here's another one. We're going to do pink and then the chocolate. Okay. And then here we are again. Your normal herringbone will go here. We're going to go down 1 extra. Just like that. And it'll look like this. See, it seems like, oh no, it's not supposed to look like that. Just go with it, trust it. Okay, here's the next colors, the eggshell and the Terra Intensive light red brown. Going down through 1 bead, oops, hopefully. There we go. Down through 1 bead right there. Okay, here's another full step up. So we completed a row. You can tell that by seeing how these are all level like that, right? So now we need to go down 3 beads, right? From the top, 1, 2, and 3. So it's kind of starting to go, yeah. Let's do 1 more row together. So there's that. And again, you want to come up through 2 beads. Okay. There we go. And then come up through 2 beads right there. And then here is the last column of this row. Got those beads. Okay, and now here is the step up to the next row. And remember, for the step up, the big step up from 1 row to the next is always going to have that extra 3rd bead there. So, and basically you're going through 2 beads, but you're going through the one you added, so it ends up, looking like 3. But that, in a nutshell, is how you do twisted herringbone. And so right now it looks like this, right? It's kind of, it's starting. You can kind of see the whisper of it. You can see it's starting to twist, but already we've done 6 rows, and it's not super apparent yet. After you've done 10 rows, seems to be the magic number, you'll start to really see it. So there we are at 6, and not much going on yet, but as you keep going, that twist really, really, really pops. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch now to this sample and show you how to add thread. Okay, so just setting this one aside for now. I'm going to probably end up having two of these at the end. And I want to show you how far I got. I probably started with 75 inches of thread, maybe a little more or less, give or take a few inches there. And I got to here before I needed to add thread. And what here is 3 inches or so, a little over that. Now for this type of design, you're going to need to add length because it's not super flexible. Let me try to show you how it is. So like it's like this, right? So what you're going to notice is that you have to add a little length to make it go all the way around. And that's just normal. So I'm about to add more thread, and I'm going to add a full 75 inches. So I'm just going to stretch that out and get that ready here. Okay. Thread my beading needle. And I'm going to fold over a lot because I'm working with a really long strand, and that's what I did in the beginning of this last one too. Okay, so let's add thread. Now what I like to do when I run short is I try to leave at least 6 or 7 inches of the old working thread in place, and then I try to weave my new thread to meet it. And now it's the same process you've probably been familiar with for adding thread to other designs, where you follow the existing thread path. Maybe you bring the needle in somewhere in the work and start following it. One thing I want to note though is our thread path in this one is a twisted thread path. So you want to follow that. So I'm just going to pick a spot, any spot. Let's see, I'm going to pick a spot where I want to end up coming out of this one here. So if you're aiming for a certain spot, I think the best way to get there is to go ahead and bring the needle in, maybe a few rows below the place where you'd like to end up. And we'll just go around twice. And then by the time we go around twice, we'll be in a position to just shoot straight up there and meet where we left off. I'm only leaving a little bit of tail over here just so I can see if it's still moving as I do my weave in. So very quickly, I'm just going to go through some beads, just go around. And now we do have a lot of thread to pull through, so it might take me a minute, but another thing that's completely okay to do is if you end up going through more than one bead, like here I got through one, but if you'd gone through 2, that's okay. The important thing to remember when you're weaving in is that you're following the same journey that the last thread did, so that you're not ending up with a new I don't know, it would put a little twist or torque into it if you went in a different thread path at this point. But see, I'm just going around and following what was done before. Just looking if there's thread going from here to here, then I can go that way too. Here's my tail. Let's push that out of the way for a sec. Nice and tight, so not really going through. There we go. Okay. All right, let's do a first test. Let's pull on it and see how I can still move the tail a little bit. So based on that, I'm going to go around one more time. There we go. I just went around, and I came up through some beads, went down through some beads, but making sure that every time I switch from one bead to the next, that I'm following the same thread path. There's my tail right there. Do you see it? And I'm ready to make a turn, exiting from this bead into this one. All right. And I'm going to see how many I can get through. Ooh, almost made that pretty far. Okay, so I got through all those, and that's great. Keep going. Pull tight. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and just go through the next one too. So I have met the spot where my old working thread was, and I'm ready to just carry on with my design. And then here, this one right here is the tail, and it's not moving anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that and or thread burn it, whichever is your comfort zone for finishing and trimming. And from here, I'm just going to keep working. So I'm going to finish this design, bring it using the same process I just showed here at the beginning of the video to complete the entire design. I'm going to make my design. So my bracelet size, I usually wear like a 6.5 inch. I'm going to make this maybe 7.25. Maybe 7. I'm going to play with it. So when I get there, I'm just going to like bend it around my wrist and see. Like right now it's like kind of, let's see. By the time I get it to fit around, I think I'm looking at 7.25 just based on that it's going to have some air. We'll see how it looks. And can you imagine, like, I'm just thinking aloud here, how cool would this look on a chain? Like if you put this on some knitted leather chain like silver silk or even capture chain. That is something also that I want to experiment with and show you guys, because I feel like we could probably turn this into a necklace too if you didn't want to keep going for a full bracelet, which will take us quite a while. So I will meet you back here when I've got this done and ready to show you weaving in for finishing. Oh, and one more thing I forgot to mention. So after you trim your tail, start working with your new thread. Create like 2 or 3 more rows, and then take the old working thread and go ahead and just weave it up in a circle twice into the new rows and trim it. And that's all you need to do. And then you're ready to carry on. I do think this will be finishable with the amount that I just cut. I think I cut closer to maybe 75 inches. And I think I'll be able to finish it with that, but we'll see. I'll let you know if I can. And if I add thread again, I'll let you know that too. All right. There we go. All right. So I was able to finish almost all of this without adding thread, but I got to like right about here and I felt like I needed more thread. So I did add thread one more time. And so for this length, let me get you a measure real quick. 4, 7, I've got it, at the moment I've got it at exactly 7 inches. Now I'm going to add forgive me, I'm not measuring from the bottom. So from here, I've got it to almost 7.25. Almost there. I'm going to add one more row, and because I want to show you finishing the last row. And then at that point, I'll have a pretty good sized bracelet. And the reason I made it this length, for me, I was going for something about 6.25 so that I usually wear when I make myself jewelry. But the way, when you bend it, it actually, it doesn't sit flat against the skin. Like it kind of like, it does like this. Let me show you. I don't know how to explain very well, but you see how you kind of need that length to get around because there's air. There's air in there. And that's just how this, it's a very strong, structured stitch that, it will benefit from you putting, for whatever measure you would usually wear a flatter style bracelet, just add about 0.75, 3/4 of an inch to that. And you should have a really good length. Okay, let's finish this up. So I have been just doing the same thing. This is the round stitch that I've been doing. See? And I've been following the same convention that I just introduced in the intro. And what I'm going to do now is finish one more row. Get some beads out here. And I'm going to use a technique that will close the gaps. So do you see how you've got all the space, like in between every column? You have space like that. There. So what I'm going to do to finish that off is start just like normal with, my 2 colors. All right. So there's that. And then as normal, come up through the 2 beads as is the convention for the twisted herringbone, right? Now for here, I'm going to do something just a little off from what we've been doing. And this is just, again, just to close the gaps. You only have to do this on the last row and only if you like it. You can leave them open like this. It's totally fine. But if you want it to kind of resemble what we did here, the way to do that is here I am ready to add what would be, the next bead, pink, chocolate, keep going. Instead, I'm just going to pick up just the pink. I'm coming out of the pink, right? And I'm picking up just the pink. Go back through the green. So just like this, and just the one, okay? This technique, guys, works on flat herringbone too. You've probably seen me do it if you've seen any of my other classes. Now it's going to do this to you. Don't sweat it just yet. Come up through the pink bead again. Plus that one. Okay, so you're making a complete circle like that. All right, now pick up the next bead, which is a chocolate bead, and come down through here. Pull that through. As normal, come up through the next two, like we've been doing in the whole, the whole design. And then pick up just the one bead, so the one we're exiting, which is this nice eggshell luster color. Coming back through just that bead. Pull that down. So it's going to look kind of like that, right? Come up through both of those beads and pull tight, and you'll get something that looks like that. And now go ahead and add the next one, which is the one we're going into, which is that matte red-brown. From here, you're back where you started. Go ahead and come up through the three right there. Okay, and now just one more thing. Come down through just the one, okay? And then just go up through the two. All right. And that closes it all off for you. It's ready to go. All you have left to do is weave in these ends. And so the finishing end, I've always felt like, has a much more polished edge. See how it kind of looks like that? Doesn't it look good? This is the part where the seed beading just all that work pays off and you feel so happy. And the beginning still looks really cool too. So, and I did weave in my starting tail. So you're seeing how I did that there. There you go. Okay, so really quickly to weave in, I'm going to do the same thing I did when I showed adding thread earlier. I'm just going to go down through some beads and just go around. I won't make you guys watch me do that because often I'm struggling to get needles through and stuff. My stitching is pretty tight. And let's put the options for finishing together. There we go, all woven in. So I'm going to show you really quick. I didn't show it earlier because I had forgotten to bring my thread burner with me, but I'm just going to very quickly just taking off the edge there, and that's a nice finish. Okay, so the fun part, I have my camera raised up just a little bit so I can show you all the options. So starting with just explaining kind of what Carol did. So in Carol's design, and let me bring her photo over really quick. And she still has the bracelet, so I'm just going to show you a picture, but if you want to see a very, very good picture, you just go to my website, the link in the description, and you can see a high-res photo of this finish that she's done here. But our stitching should be exactly the same. I'll ask her what her measurement was. I'm not sure what her finished design measurement was, but it looks like she did an adjustable closure with leather right there, using a really cute wooden button, and she put some charms on it, which I love doing. I love putting up charms. You just pop those on the leather. I'm going to show you how she did that. And I have some leather ready to go. I think this is pretty forgiving, and 100% sure what this is. I'm not. Speaking like Yoda, this looks like 1.5 millimeter. I'm throwing a guess out there. It could just be 1. It's kind of in between 1 and 1.5. It's a little thicker, but yeah, that's what this is, I think. I also think you could use anything. I want to show you more ideas that I've had. So I also have some leather knitted chain. So this is leather, and I'm pretty sure that is either 1 millimeter. Actually, I'll need to ask Neely. You can look it up, I think. If you go to, I'll put links to this in the description too. But this is from Silver Silk and More, and it is a leather chain with knit metal on top, and you can get custom findings for it. So these findings right here are what I would use to finish this. And so what you do is, and so obviously I'm going to need to make lots of versions because I think I need to have more than one of these. You just feed it through. And this is a pretty tight stitch, so you'd want to just feed it all the way through. And when it comes out the other side, what you do is, and I would trim this up a little bit to make it, and you want to remove the little edges, but just in general. And you just take some nylon jaw pliers and just close the findings. So it's that easy. Another option, and in this option, I might want to try using, I would probably stitch through this with a needle and then use that to help me get it threaded through my bracelet. But look at this color of capture chain. This is also available here from silversiliconline.com, so you can get that there. So this is another way you can finish up your rope designs. I want to show you guys something I'm working on just really quick, just for fun. It's not done yet, but the colors we didn't use from the mix in the summer 2024 mix are copper and that transparent gray as a red color. I did the same stitch that we've been doing here, but look, it's kind of cool. It's like a 3 and 3. So I just did one column with just gray, one column with one of each color, and then one column with just copper. So this one I probably won't have enough to do the full length for a bracelet. Just if I'm working with one tube. Oh, and by the way, look at this. I made a 7 1/4 bracelet. I have all this left. So there was some concern last week about whether or not one tube would be enough. I think you're good. I think you're good even if you were going to go a little longer on the bracelet. Lots and lots left. You could probably get a pendant out of that. So, but having said that, if you're working with just 2 colors, I don't know if that'll go full length or not. So this is probably going to be, I think I'm going to go to like 3 or 4 inches and then check this out. It's going to be so pretty. I might need a little help speeding it through. I'm going to put a needle and thread on there and then just thread it through. But try from the other side actually. It's actually ball chain inside, and I will need to like stitch through with some needle and thread and just use the needle to get through it. Can you see how cool that's going to look? It's going to be hanging on that color. And I just loved this color with this one too. So a little bit of just a diversion there for like what my ideas are for how to finish it, because I think that would be very, very cute. And I love those colors. So be on the lookout for my post, because I think I'm going to finish this one and post it and show you using at least either the knitted chain or the capture chain. I'm not 100% sure which one I'm going to go with yet. One other thing you can do, in my shop currently, I have a bunch of the pegs I mentioned earlier. So these are the glue-in end pegs. And these are a perfect fit. They're 3mm actually. So earlier I said 2, but I was wrong. They are 3. And they just, you would put a little bit of glue on it and check that out. Just pops right in place. And then that way, if for some reason I can't get it to fit when I try out my 3 needle chain or my pipe chain, you can always link it. Now this is copper. I think there's also brass available on his website, but you can link that and then put this on like that. And you could have a necklace and it could become both. Like you could lobster claw it and then wear it as a necklace and a bracelet interchangeably. So there's just a couple of more ideas that I'm going to feature as I get playing and I get working. So, but let's show you the way that Carol did it. Okay, so I needed a button. So I grabbed a button from my stash. This is Nun Design. It is super cute, and I've wanted to use this button for a long time. I've been waiting for the perfect thing for it. This is it right here. So cute. I do have one more of these. If somebody really loves it and needs it, just message me. Also, I will see if I can get more of these and maybe add them to the shop. All right, so let's feed the leather through next. I'm going to cut this at an angle. I think you'll have an easier time working with it if it's like a more of a firm leather, but give it a try. This part's a little tricky, so just stick with me. It's, you know, I do kind of sometimes have to play with it a little bit. But I think the secret to getting it to feed through is a combination of twisting the leather a little bit, trying to use a leather that doesn't have any soft spots. Like if your leather has any spots that are like when you push on them that bend really easy, like right here, I actually trimmed that off because it really wasn't working. But now there, it just went right through for me. It doesn't always go through that easily. I kind of struggled with it last time, but you know, there's lots of different tricks I could think of that might work, but the only thing that I've ever really stuck with is just kind of using some finessing, just kind of a couple of things you can do. You can twist the leather like that while you're putting it through to kind of give it some strength. But anyway, message me if you're having trouble getting the leather through. And there's a couple things that I don't currently have in front of me, but that I would try if I was really desperate and I was getting stuck. Like those things that you can use to put the cord back in your hoodie. I was thinking something like that. I'm going to do some reading up and studying, but luckily for me in this case, I was able to figure it out eventually. So I got this through. Leather's looking good. And what Carol did was really interesting. So her button and her button loops, it looks like what she did is she went through her button and then she came back this way and did a barrel knot. So that's what I'm going to do here. And I'm going to go ahead and just bring the coil like that around, making sure I have enough there. There's 1, 2, sorry, 1. So I can get to about 2 there. I like 2. Okay, let's do 2. And I'm going to feed the leather back through the 2 little coils I just made. And you know, if you have a straw handy or you have like one of those little tubes, it can also really help. I decided just to kind of wing it today, but okay, so there's one side done. Okay, so it's a little loose, so what I do to tighten it is just hold on to one side and then just pull. See how that works? And you can just tighten that, nice it up like that. If you want to put a little glue on, you can, or just go ahead and tuck it in there. Now, I feel like if you finesse with it a lot, you could probably get even like 2 strands through the leather, which would mean, for example, over here, you'd have 2 strands sticking out. That would be really cool for doing a button loop. So think about that for a second if you're using, especially if you're using a little bit smaller leather than me. I did verify this was 1.5, so I think getting 1 through was probably easier than trying to get 2, but that said, I might have been able to do it. But anyway, that works best. I feel like that's going to be really cute when it's done. Okay, so on this side, I'm going to give myself a little extra length. I'm still on the spool. I got to figure out how much I need. So let's take a look here. I'm going to make 2 button loops, I think. So we'll make 1 button loop up here. So I'll need to do 1 barrel knot. So I need a little extra length for that. Then I'll do another barrel knot down here. So let's cut a little extra. How much did I cut? I cut more than I needed. I'm wasting leather basically, but I'm just scared I won't have enough. So let's go from here to, I actually cut like 11 inches. I don't think you'll need that much. Let's see how much I have left when I'm done. But let's see. Let's go for, how big is my button? There's 1 and 2. Yeah, right about there. Okay, so from right here, I'm gonna do a little knot. So around, all right. And this time I'm going above my knot. Okay. So let's go through it. And I'm certain there's other ways you could do this. I missed one of my coils. Let's get through that coil right there. Okay. So there's 1 button loop done. And I need to make it smaller, so I think, can I make it smaller? That kind of works, doesn't it? All right. And so I'll show you at the end how I can make this length go away too. If you didn't want to do a button, you could always just do an adjustable knot. That might work too. Okay, so let's make one more button loop here and then we'll tighten everything up. 1 and 2 and around. Okay, get that through there. All right, what do you think of that? Does that feel pretty good? Let's look. Okay. I just want to test to make sure that works. And it seems to. It's a little tight. Probably loosen that just a little bit. There we go. That will do it. And one last thing, I might do either one more button loop, which I think is probably the way to go, but I could also move my knot down on the side, but I think I'd like to make it really adjustable. So let's do one more. This one's going to be a little harder to do because I have a little less length. So 1, 2. Okay. There we go. What do you think of that? Is that good? That's cute, actually. And this will fit everyone now. Let me see if I can tuck my tail in. I bet I can. So I actually ended up using all 11 inches, but it was sort of by accident. Truth. Let's see to get that in there. There we go. But you can always adjust it. You can come back over here and slide this knot around. I think that this is actually going to be kind of good. I like it. All right. And then if you want to slide these knots around, you can pull this knot down, pull that knot down. See what I mean? You can just keep going like that to pull it down and make it tighter or looser if you need to. They're all movable. That's why I love that kind of knot. All right. See, it just keeps moving around. There it is. There it is in a nutshell. I'm definitely going to copy what Carol did. I'm going to put some really pretty charms on there. I think that will look really cute. And I'm really happy with how this came out. And I'm excited about our next Seed Bead Saturday. So let me recap everything that I have coming up that I'm planning to do. So for the first thing I want to do is I want to show you guys another version of this same stitch made into a little necklace focal. So for anybody who doesn't want to do a full bracelet like that and just wants to do something smaller, I'm going to show you a small version made with the leftover beads. These ones here. And I can't decide which one I love more, and I might change my mind about the colors, but for now I'm using these reddish brown colors that really pull out that beautiful color in the mix that's like that red brown right there. So goodness, this is going to be really cool. That's my plan for that. Be on the lookout for it. I'm going to post it this week. As soon as I get time to finish it, that's going to be my next project. And then after that, we have in the description, you'll find a link on the calendar. Let me switch back actually to my face cam so I can see you guys too. Really quick. Hey, there I am. So I just wanted to switch in back and say thank you again for tuning in to create this beautiful bracelet with me. I had a really fun time making this. It is, again, twisted herringbone, and I did an adjustable button closure with leather. And be on the lookout for other ways to finish it that I'm going to be showing on my webpage soon. And again, the place to find all of the upcoming content that we're going to be doing. And also the best way to get in touch with me if you're looking for something you can't find in the shop, or you have a suggestion of a technique you'd like to see, or you are trying to find a finding that you'd like, I can always try to respond as quickly as I can to inquiries I get. So my website has a contact form. I'm also on Instagram as @Danielle Wickes Jewelry. You can find me in Facebook at Danielle Wickes Jewelry as a business page there too. And I'll pop all that stuff in the description so you can find it. And again, this was the Twisted Herringbone video, and I can't stop looking at this bracelet because I'm in love with it. I hope that you will post your beautiful creations too. If you are on Instagram or Facebook and you'd like to share with us, if you tag Danielle Wickes Jewelry and tag at Carol Carmen Jewelry, it will just make our day because we love seeing things that you create. And please tune in next week for Seed Bead Saturday. Again, calendar in the description for you can see everything coming up. And so, yeah, I just wish you a really great rest of your weekend and happy beading to you. Bye.